Pleasure to meet y'all at last. And welcome back to Why's That? Now, there aren't as many questions as there pretty much was back then, but I'm still feeling like I can just keep on answering any of these questions at any given time of the day. But for today's question, I'm really excited about this next question that I'm going to answer right now, because this question relates to my Vibram 5 fingers. Although I have answered a question that was very similar to that, except it was based on both my Vibrams and my Jinjis, but this one's just specifically about my Vibram vlogs. Every vlog that I made about my Vibrams, showcasing different facts and different techniques and other traits of 5 fingers that make them a much more special type of shoe out there in existence here in this century. I really enjoyed making these vlogs, and I really enjoyed just giving out the information that was possible into really just turning into a huge ball of charisma right there. That's just how I felt about making every one of those kind of vlogs. So for this particular question that I received from a YouTube commenter, the commenter ended up asking me, why is that you regularly make vlogs specifically about your Vibram 5 fingers? Now, this is very exciting because I happen to like questions like these that really get me thinking. They really allow me to dig deep, and they really encourage me to think about how well am I going to put this through. So with vlogs about my Vibram 5 fingers, I tend to indicate the best known information, and I tend to do some excessive research to the point of which that I would practically break down mentally. Because that just goes to show about how well I tend to work on any videos of mine, with gaming videos, Why's That episodes, anything in general that goes down on my channel nowadays. But back then, I wasn't so on full of creativity, and I ended up making the most simplistic portions about my videos. I didn't do so very well with editing, and I tended to use copyrighted music because that was, at the time, the only music that I knew that I could use. And unlike Vimeo, which does allow you to use copyrighted music without getting yourself banned from the website, YouTube does follow the copyright policies along with the Copyright Act of 1976 to a very good extent. And it really does allow YouTubers out there of the Creative Commons attribution and other basic licenses that YouTube offers to its creators. It does allow its creators to get some time to think about what they could use for their content. With royalty-free music that is offered by dozens of artists nowadays, we're also expanding our horizons to see if music can be a non-preliminary factor in our videos. And we're also looking forward to seeing how well our editing skills can really revolve around the point in which how we can do well on our current work. As for me, I have some very decent skills in terms of editing and the use of downloading royalty-free music from artists like Kevin MacLeod, Skrillex, and otherwise. And I tend to do very well with the selection of music because there's just always this point at which that there's also known as the 30-second rule, which does apply to copyrighted songs, but in which I don't tend to really take that too well. But anyways, though, back towards the actual point of the question, because I tend to regularly make videos on my 5 fingers because one point that I tend to really do well is the fact that I tend to really discuss the points as to how 5 fingers are a really unique invention and that they really differentiate from other shoes because of their other traits and factors that really make up the certain points. The physical attributes and what's within the outside of the shoe. And overall, I really tend to really take in every bit of information, not just with my own eyes, but from the ankles to the toes. And not just because and it's not just the shape of the shoe that tends to really appeal to me, and it tends to really be a great eye catcher, but it's also the price. Because sometimes I tend to find some Five Fingers models out there for less than $72. And that, of course, is much cheaper than what you could get out of a certain wide toe box shoe, or even just your regular old conventional Nike shoes or otherwise. Vibram Five Fingers does tend to make their offers pretty darn good on Amazon or any other kind of modern day online shopping website. But it's not just the price that happens to really appeal to me in any way, shape, or form. But it's also the performance, and it's also the feedback that's given to the company by various customers who have tried these shoes out themselves and who have actually really tended to put forward their best thinking as to how Vibram Five Fingers overall can help out with their foot muscles, and they can also help out with other muscle groups in their bodies. Because there have actually been a lot of Vibram Five Fingers related videos that we've seen out there for the last 10 years, and Vibram Five Fingers, of course, have been around for 12 years. That is how old the shoe variety is nowadays. The Five Finger design has been around for that long, but we have seen some others out there, like the Nikes. But we have seen some other such rip-offs out there that kind of just put us down to the point at which that we might not see Vibram as a very reliable source for getting great products and to receive some good feedback from other customers based on reviews that we've seen from Amazon or otherwise. Now, how I actually make my vlogs on my Five Fingers is just simple. I do tend to take the camera out, and I do tend to find a really good place to vlog in, because sometimes out there in the urban areas where cars and people out there can be seen can be more risky than just going outside in somewhere like the woods. Now, the bottom line with me using the woods as a place to test out my Five Fingers, as well as some other terrains out there that I have used to test them out, is that Five Fingers tend to really take on the trails that I blaze. And they really tend to really just take well on water. With my particular Five Fingers models, which are known as the Trek Ascent non-insulated variants, I actually have found that that particular model of mine that particular model from Vibram really shapes my feet to the point at which I really tend to just like every aspect of it and every single aesthetic that I have seen on other Five Fingers models. Except being the non-insulated variant, I probably wouldn't recommend it to be used as an outdoor shoe for such colder weather like this here in late November. But there's also something else that I tend to really take forth whenever I make Five Fingers vlogs. I tend to rapidly shift to new terrains, including rocks, including logs, including wood, including stone, including metal, including dirt, including grass even. Soft grass, that is, grass that happens to be a little dewy. However, though, there's much more to it. Though, it would have taken me a long time for me just to figure out every single aspect of a Five Fingers model that I would have to consume a lot fur. And there's also the fact that I actually enjoy the current model that I got right now, which is the Five Fingers Trek Ascent non-insulated variant. And there's also the point at which that I have said that I really love the Five Fingers that I got. And I've only got one pair right now, so there's a darn good chance that I might have to start taking in some of the other models to figure out how well each one of them tend to take in on certain other terrains. Although, that could take a while as well. And like I've said before though, there's so much more on my Five Fingers that I have actually gotten into making vlogs about, and not just about myself, with good feedback on the product itself. But then again, I feel like that if you watch any of the vlogs that I have made on my 5 fingers so far, then you probably will get the idea that the Vibram 5 fingers that I got, they're a very great product, and I have actually said that their price was $54. That was how cheap they were when I first got them. But anyways though, that's pretty much it for right now. And like I've said before, there are plenty more questions out there that I will have to get to answer at some point in time. But if you want to see more, go down on my channel. Make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.